what's up YouTube? It's Brooke, and today I'm back with another video. So I know I've been producing travel content like crazy, but honestly that is like my passion, so I have no apologies. But going with all of these travel content videos, I'm going to tell you guys how to plan for a big backpacking trip or a long vacation, something that's not just 2 weeks. This was something that I was very curious about when I first started looking into doing backpacking or doing longer trips. Like, how in the world do you plan all of that? That seems super stressful, but I ended up just teaching myself, and this is basically what I did to plan for all of my trips. So it's basically 7 easy steps. And starting off with step 1, the very first thing you're gonna want to do is make a list of the countries that you plan on going to, or the places that you plan on going to. Now, once you know the countries, then you can kind of know like from where, like what ones you want to hit when. Look up like events that you want to go to, so that way you know the dates for those so you can coordinate it. As well as research the cities that you might want to visit, you know, like go with at least an idea of what you would want to do, so that way you don't leave with any regrets. Now, the second thing I did when I was planning my backpacking, mostly in Central America I did this, I looked up each country that we were planning on hitting originally, and then I looked it up on YouTube, and I took the 5 most popular videos from that like country or people visiting that country, and I put them on a playlist. And then I also researched and Googled best places to visit in so-and-so country. In doing this, it'll give you tourist attractions, and you can also look up like hidden gems in this country. Now, just doing all of this research, this is actually kind of the fun part of like planning for a trip, is just discovering where you want to go and what you want to do. And by doing this, it just basically leaves you an idea of what you would like to do and how many days each excursion is, how much the excursions are. If you're even gonna do excursions, maybe you're just gonna get to a city and you're just gonna check it out when you get there, you know? So just have an idea of what places you would like to go to, in what order you would like to go to them, and why would you like to go to them. Now, I kind of said this in the last one. Number 3 is just Googling attractions. You can Google hidden gems, you can Google tourist traps, you can Google abandoned places, and the bluest waters of this area. Like, the list is absolutely endless. Number 4, you're going to want to, once you have that list of attractions, you're going to want to do in-depth research on those attractions. Does it cost any amount to get into this national park? Is the excursion an 8-hour day trip, or is it something that you can get done in an hour and a half? You know, you need to be researching those things if you want to be super planned. And yeah, basically by doing that, you are leaving out future stress for yourself. I mean, you also have to know what hours and days are these places open. Are they closed on a Monday, and that's when you're gonna be in the city, you know? So just plan out those little things, and it will save you so much stress. Also, going with that, like, plan out your transportation. How do you plan to get there? Because that is so important. Like, of course, if it's a touristy area, you're probably gonna find your way to get there. But if it's something that's off the beaten path, of course that could be a lot harder to get to. Are you renting a car? Are you taking public transport? If you're taking public transport, research the public transport, which is definitely possible to research. You just, Rome to Rio. Highly recommend Rome to Rio. That's a major way of how I found my ways to get to places. Yeah, so just kind of be researching how you're gonna get there. How long is it gonna take to get there? Is it 6 hours from the place you're staying? You know, so big things like that make a huge difference. Number 5 is the list of pros and cons, and kind of just the list of excluding things. Because, you know, you're gonna wanna do 25 things, but are you gonna have time to do 25 things? Maybe, but you're most likely not. I mean, I'm definitely not saying how long your trip is, or I'm not underestimating you by any means. Maybe you can go do 25 things, but make sure that you have the budget for it, make sure you have the time for it, and make sure that it's stuff that you really want to do. So the next part, I just recommend excluding some things off the list. Maybe that thing, like for instance, we were gonna go to Nicaragua, but the only reason that we wanted to go to that country was just to go volcano boarding, and then we were gonna pretty much leave. And so, like, it's kind of like, is it worth all of this extra money and all of this extra time to go to Nicaragua when the only thing we want to do there is go volcano boarding and then leave? You know, so that was something that we had to think about, is like, is it worth it? And that's kind of the list you gotta make, is title it, is it worth it? And do the pros and cons of each activity, and it'll definitely help you out. Now, number 6 is mapping out the trip. I love this part. This is the part where you're gonna decide what cities you want to hit in which order. So this is a lot of fun, but it also can be stressful. And a thing I recommend is to check out plane tickets. If you're budgeting, definitely check out, like, sometimes a plane leaving from this country to go to that one is going to be cheaper than leaving from your home country to get to it. So if you, like, how do I word this? So if you just kind of mess around with the order of events, you check out different flights, you check out different times for everything, then you can definitely get yourself a good trip going. Mapping out is super important. Make sure that you're not having city A down here and then city B all the way over here and then city C like right over here right by city A. You know, so of course, like, make sure that you are kind of boom, 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 you know, like. And the last thing, number 7, is of course budgeting. Now, this is something that I get questions about the most. I had a lot of people hit me up on Snapchat when I was gone, and they're like, how are you budgeting? Like, I wish I could have counted how many people texted me and they're like, how in the world are you affording doing all of these things? And I was like, girlfriend, boyfriend, it's because I am budgeting, and budgeting is key when you're traveling. If you're planning on spending 1 week in a country, you're probably gonna go all out. You're probably not budget traveling. You're probably going there with, let's say, $1,000, and you're looking to blow that $1,000 by the end of the week. Like, just spending it on drinks, going to bars, going to clubs, like doing snorkeling excursions and scuba diving and surfing, all that stuff, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing a longer trip, let's say 3 to 6 months, then you're not gonna be wanting to blow $1,000 every week, unless of course you won the lottery or something. So this is when budgeting definitely comes in handy, and you have to be good with your money if you want to be a backpacker. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. So I guess some things I recommend for this, when you're planning out budgeting, of course, research all the things that you plan on doing. Research them so much in depth that you could answer any questions from strangers about that particular event. So research how much it's going to cost. How long is it going to take? Is it going to be worth it? Also, know what kind of traveler you are. For instance, when I was in Puerto Rico, and same with when I was in the Dominican Republic, because I just got back from the Dominican Republic, by the way. For those 2 countries, I spent a month in each of those countries, and I did not spend a lot of money. I mean, I literally went to the Dominican Republic with a solid budget. Like, I only went with a couple $100s in my bank account, and I came back perfectly fine, and it's because I literally budgeted so good. And by that, I mean, I lived at a hostel for free, which I did that through Workaway. And I made most of my meals. So I'd go grocery shopping like once every 2 weeks, probably every week and a half, something like that. And I would make pretty much all of my meals. I only ate out probably 5 times that whole month. And so by doing that, that saves you so much money you wouldn't even believe. But let's say you don't want to do that. Let's say you don't want to do a workaway. You want to actually like really enjoy every moment you have. You don't want to be working. And let's say that you would like to enjoy the fine cuisine of that country every day. You wouldn't want to, you know, make your own food. So that brings us to Panama and Costa Rica. In those 2 countries, that's what I did. I didn't budget like how I did in the other 2, like in the Caribbean countries. So in the Central American countries, I didn't budget in that sense. And I was also doing activities like scuba diving, skydiving, snorkeling, surfing also. And so all of that stuff added up so much. And I spent like probably 3 to 4 times as much during that 1 month than I did in my 1 month in Puerto Rico or my 1 month in the Dominican Republic. So if you want to travel in the luxurious way where you are doing activities, you are eating out, and you are paying for accommodation, those 3 are the more expensive but common way to travel. So if you plan on doing that, rule of thumb is $1,000 per month. But if you're trying to do the backpackers, I mean that's even backpacker, but if you're trying to do like the budgeting style where you're doing a workaway and you're making most of your meals and you're not really going out and doing activities that cost a lot of money, then you can go somewhere for a couple $100s. It all just depends on what your traveling style is. What do you plan on doing? Where do you plan on going? How do you plan on living? And yeah, like just all of those elements add up so much. So yeah, that is my advice on how to plan for a backpacking trip. I know it's kind of generic, everything I said. I can't really tell you specifically how to plan for Australia, how to plan for New Zealand, how to plan for Africa. You know, I can't tell you every single place is different. You need to research how much the currency is where you live versus where that place is, how much living in that specific city is, because if you're staying in a touristy area, it can be super expensive compared to if you're staying somewhere that's off the beaten path. So just do your research. That's what it all comes down to, is if you do your research and you figure out the way that you want to travel, that is exactly how you plan for a backpacking trip. So I hope that this video did help you out, and if it did, make sure to give it a big thumbs up because it'll make me smile, and I will see you guys next time I see you guys with a brand new video.